Some of the smartest people that you know are also probably the most stuck. Not because they don't have the ability or they don't have the desire to create the life that they want to live, but because they overthink everything. And intelligence without execution becomes a trap. So today we're breaking down why the smartest people stay stuck and also why most smart people are broken than they need to be. And there's three things that I want to focus on. But the first thing is the overthinking trap. Now, the overthinking trap is something that I personally deal with and I'm guilty of myself because being a person that likes to think about perfection, even though perfection is a myth, I try to control every situation that I'm put in or the outcome for every situation. I know that it's on me at the end of the day. Like I have the standard of living that I want to be the best version of myself. And whatever it is that I do, I want to put my best foot forward. But oftentimes when you try to be the best at every little thing, when you have too many options to be able to focus on trying to be the best at something, then you put yourself in this hole where you're overthinking all of the decisions that you make. And a lot of times what overthinking leads to is it leads to a fear, which is the fear of making the wrong move. So in a way, we overthink ourselves or we think about stuff way too much, or we try to control every single little thing. And that puts us in a position where we're stuck because now we have analysis paralysis. And analysis paralysis is when you go out here and you pretty much try to figure out how this thing is supposed to look, A to Z. And once you figure out what it looks like A to Z, you still feel like there's something more that you need to learn before you actually go out here and execute on the thing. But when you sit back and you try to have the standard of being a perfectionist, when you sit back and you fall into the overthinking trap, or you have the fear of making the wrong move, what you do is you keep yourself stuck because you're trying to control something that's uncontrollable. There's only two things that we can be able to control, which is our effort and our attitude. Now, I like to think that I would be able to control the outcome, but let's be real. There's only one person that controls the outcome, and that's God. And our outcome is already written for us. Right now, we're on a specific page in our book, and our story is already written. So if our story is already written, no matter how much we try to control the outcome, and we can be able to put our best foot forward, God already has our plan in store for us. He has the life that he desires for us to live. And when you try to control everything that goes on in your life, all you do is you add this self-inflicted pressure that you put on yourself. And it turns into a form of stress. I know that when I was in my darkest moments, when I was at my lowest points, a lot of the times it was because I was in my own head and I was trying to sit here and control things I was pretty much trying to control everything. I didn't put God at the forefront or the center of my life. Although I keep God first and I try to have a relationship with God, I felt like it was on me to make something happen. I felt like if I didn't show up and get things done, then nothing would happen. And although that is true, when you try to be perfect with every single thing and you have too many different options to try to be perfect in, all you do is you drain yourself of the energy. You drain yourself of what your full potential is because you're trying to be too many things at once. So something that really, really helped me be able to stop overthinking, and still to this day, I'm still guilty of it. Like it's a work in progress. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to the point of not overthinking anything at all. But at the same time, I realized that although it is good to do your research, although it is good to do your due diligence before you take action, you have to take action. You can't be able to control what the outcome is going to look like. Like I said, the only thing that you control is your effort and your attitude. And your effort and your attitude is what's going to determine what your outcomes look like. But certain things in life, like hardships, like failures, like setbacks, those are also a part of our story. So because it's a part of our story, you got to realize that sometimes, even though it feels like you're going backwards or things aren't necessarily going your way, if you're trying to be in control of everything, then you're just going to put more pressure on yourself. And God is trying to get you to the point of submitting to him. One of my favorite verses is Proverbs 3, verses 5-6. And it says, trust in the Lord in all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This is something that I've been trying to live by for the last 15 years. But every single day I get reminded that this is an active work in progress. Like this is something that you have to show up with every single day. Because although it says trust in the Lord in all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, you still have to put your best foot forward. You got to take action because faith without work is dead. We can believe that a miracle is going to happen, but at the end of the day, in order for a miracle to happen, you have to create the miracle. You have to compound on the habits to be able to make sure that the miracle can become a real thing. But a lot of times we sit in the position of holding ourselves back because we want to be the person that makes sure everything goes right. But when something goes wrong, it's like this is a setback and we don't know what to do. But you got to realize that even in line dancing, setbacks, the steps that you take backwards are also a part of the rhythm for you to be able to move forward. So although you may be in a position where you feel stuck, if you are overthinking is part of the process, but you have to be able to execute on the things that you are thinking about. If you were to slim the gap down or close the gap between the time you think about doing something versus the time that you actually do it, you would stop overthinking as much. Another huge reason why a lot of smart people stay stuck is that you have an addiction to gathering knowledge. Like part of us feels like the more that we learn, the more productive that we are. And I'll be honest with you, although learning is a part of productivity, the only way for you to be able to actually get some type of real results is by taking some type of real action on the things that you are learning. But because a lot of us don't understand that the only way for you to be able to have progress is through execution, but not by gathering the data, we keep ourselves stuck. And because we fear making the wrong move, that's really why a lot of us are stuck, because we don't move at all. We feel like, okay, well, I'm not ready yet. Or there's more stuff that I need to know. Or this person is able to do this because they had this, that, and the third. We make excuses for ourselves instead of being real with ourselves, looking ourselves in the mirror and saying, you just have not taken action long enough. And if you are taking action and you feel like you have not necessarily got to where it is that you want to go, you have to realize that it takes time, especially if you are a person that has a bigger vision, a bigger dream, a bigger goal, because you have to become the person that's capable of receiving and making sure that that thing can actually be real. Right now, the vision that you have, the desires that you have, the goals that you have, if you can be able to have a vision of something that you can see yourself with in the future, if God put it on your heart, then that means that it is real in your story. But the only way for you to be able to get there is not by just gathering more knowledge. You have to actually execute on the knowledge that you gather, because gaining information without taking any action on it, it does nothing for you. So the hugest reason, or the biggest reason I should say, why most smart people stay stuck is because they just want to go and get more smarter instead of going and getting better at the thing that's going to actually make them the money or make some type of change. And when you change your focus to realizing that, hey, if I can be able to shorten this gap between the time that I learn about something and the time that I actually go and execute on the thing, no matter how good or how bad I look, even if I'm not ready to do it right now, or if I don't feel like I'm ready to do it right now, you got to do it, and you have to do it scared. You got to do it willingly, knowing that regardless, the best form of life is when you have experience in life, and your experience is always going to be the best teacher. You can go out here and you can learn from other people. Everybody can tell you how to make $1 million. But at the end of the day, you're only going to be able to become that version of yourself by putting the work in to yourself, for yourself. And there's no shortcuts. I constantly say this and remind myself about this, like there's no guarantees in life. None of us have any type of guarantees. The only guarantee is that eventually our life is going to be over. But you have the ability to make a commitment to yourself to show up and do the things that are necessary, even when you feel like you are not in the position that you need to be. So instead of just going out here and gathering more information, take action on the stuff that you know right now, because once you take action on the things that you know right now, that's when you're going to be able to get in the real field and know, hey, these are the things that I really should be focusing on versus I'm just gathering all of this information. And now I'm overwhelmed because I know all of this stuff about this thing, but I haven't taken any type of real action on it. So I'm just overthinking every single thing that goes into what it takes in order for me to have a result. I like to look at it like this, like you, we were all told the American dream, stay in school, go to college, graduate college, get a nice paying job. But a lot of the people that I know that have college degrees, they don't even work in the field that they have the degree in. They are doing some type of other work. Why? Because although they gathered the information with the degrees that they have, whether you have a bachelor's, a master's, a doctor's, whatever the case may be, you're not going to become an expert in your field until you actually get in the field. Like until you actually show up on your first day of work and you go through the orientation and you start to figure out what rules are for what and what needs to be done here. Like that's real life proof that you're not going to be able to get paid for anything unless you actually take action. And although the information is the prerequisites, that's not the do all say all if you don't ever take action on those things. So how can we be able to turn all of this stuff into an actual advantage? I like to look at this as it's a simple equation. I call it the execution equation. All it is less thinking, more testing. Focus less on thinking about the thing, focus more time on testing the thing. Because regardless of how you want to look at it, you're going to have to go through and you're going to have to try and fail because you learn the most when you do things wrong, quote unquote. But it's only wrong in the beginning because you didn't know how to do it before. But once you go through and you figure out what L's, or I like to look at L's as lessons. Once you go through and you take your L's and you figure out what lessons you needed to learn in order to be able to make this thing something that's real, that's when you start to unlock a different side of you that you're going to be a lot more proud of. And you're going to relieve yourself from looking at people that don't have all of the potential that you have and are in the position that you want to be in. But it's like not necessarily calling people that are successful dumb people, but they are not always the most intelligent people. The richest people in the world don't have any type of college education at all. Why is that? Because they just got in the field. There's not any type of learning that can be able to match the experience that you get from just showing up and failing. Because when you go out here and you actually take action, that's what creates the clarity. The clarity does not necessarily come from you just learning about the thing. You can go out here and figure out or read a book on how to go and fly a plane. But until you actually put the work in to fly the plane, you're not going to have your pilot's license. Like even the pilots, they go through and they learn all of the things that they need to know about the plane. But it's still not going to be until they actually have to take the plane up into the air and land the plane and have years and years and years of training, years and years and years of taking action, that they're going to be the people that we know, like, and trust. Because when you get inside of a plane, you don't necessarily even know who the pilot is, but you trust them to get you from point A to point B because you know that in order for them to be there, they had to put the work in. There's not a sheet of paper that can be able to measure the knowledge that they have in order for them to be able to do their expertise or live up to their fullest potential, whatever it may be. It's the same exact thing with you. If you want to become the best version of yourself, you become that best version, not by just going out here and gathering more information, but taking more action. So focus less on thinking, focus more on taking action. And when you start to create this momentum for yourself, momentum starts to compound, and momentum is what beats perfection. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way. Like, show up every single day, take action every single day, force your growth, force your momentum. Because when you start doing the things like taking the small actions that are going to lead up to the overall long-term goals, that's what starts to unlock a different version of you that you didn't even know was necessarily possible. So if you're a person that's in a position right now and you've been wondering why you are overly qualified but underpaid, it's because you just got to take more action. And I know it seems so easy or so simple. It may be easy, but it's not necessarily simple, because what's simple to do is also simple not to do. It's easy to learn about the thing, but it's more tedious, it's more hard to execute on the thing. So your advantage isn't necessarily thinking more. It's not about you going out here and gathering more information. It's about you being able to act sooner. than what it is that you currently are right now. And if you're a person that feels like you are smart, but you're underpaid, you're underappreciated, the way that you can be able to raise your value is by forcing your momentum, by taking action on the things that are going to get you closer to becoming an expert, which is somebody that just takes a bunch of action. Turn your volume up, lower your expectations as far as how long or how soon you think something is going to happen, and just become relentless with just becoming a better version of yourself every single day that you wake up. So that's going to go ahead and conclude this particular video. If you guys liked it, let me know what you like best in the comments below, and share with somebody that it can also be able to impact. Because my dream, or my mission, I should say, is to be able to impact millions of lives by being able to unlock something that's on the inside of us that has been living, that's keeping us stuck for such a long time. Being able to get that light bulb to go off, to know that you have what it takes. And at the end of the day, the success that you have has no type of limits at all. The only limits that it has is the limits that we place on ourselves through our thinking. So if you want to be able to accomplish more, you have to do more. If you want to accomplish more, you have to act more. If you want to have more, you have to be more. So that's going to go ahead and conclude. Had a lot of fun in this video. Hope you guys too. Until next time. Peace.